with that, and not as a result of, let's say, you know, um, anything else artificial, okay, or things that you make up. A lot of people make up, right? They do the makeup thing. And what does that mean exactly? Well, it's like, people go, well, he was really professional. What did that mean? Well, he was smiling, he was friendly, he was, right? He was doing a lot of put on. Okay, is that who he really is? In most cases, no. Sometimes it's part of who they are. Okay, but there's that manufactured persona, or sometimes in psychology it's called a mask. Okay, and these masks that we wear for different people at different times. So there's a mask, or let's say a persona that you put on for your mom, and then one for your dad, and then one for your bestie, and then one for your kids, and then it goes on and on. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Jay. But these things go on and on, okay? And every time you get back to that person, okay? So it's like when you're in high school, right? You're in high school, you leave high school, you don't see your best friend in high school for 30 years. Then you run into him in the reunion, and guess what? Right? The old tapes play again, okay? That paradigm plays again, okay? And you pick up where you left off, okay? Now, that is not necessarily, that's probably more real than what you've done in adult life. That relationship that you had in high school is probably a lot more real than what you have experienced in your adult life. Why? Because when you get into, it starts in intermediate school, right? Oh, you have to be mature. Yeah, you can't act like that anymore. Okay? So now you leave a lot of stuff behind. And, does this work for you or against you? Well, both. Okay? The working for you part is, yes, you get accepted as a more mature human being, a more mature person. Okay? But then you leave a lot of the things behind that are supposed to help you in real life. And what are those? Well, one of them is the imagination, right? Okay. So one of those things is imagination, and people just leave their imagination behind. And then they get these, what they call crazy ideas. Why are they crazy ideas? Well, because you left your imagination behind. So now this sounds crazy. Okay. I'm here to say, trust your crazy ideas. That's all I ever do. Okay. And it works every single time. Like every time. Okay. But when you put on this artificial personality, okay, or professional face, oh, he was very professional. She was very professional. Yeah, but was she sincere? Was he sincere? Most times those things get left out. Why? Because we're creating these things. And if you're operating from that, guess where the vibration's going? Right, it's going to that. Okay? So you're portraying that professionalism, okay? And when you're portraying that professionalism, or let's say that persona, or let's say whatever you've made out to be, whatever you want people to see you as, you start projecting that vibration. Therefore, you start attracting that vibration. Like attracts like. So what are you attracting? Well, if you're putting out fake, guess what? You're attracting fake. Okay? And then all of a sudden things happen, and you go, yeah, well, that guy, he wasn't what he said he was. Or that girl, like yeah, she said she was all about that. No, yeah, she wasn't all about that. Why? Well, because you were projecting artificial, therefore you attracted artificial. Like attracts like. So authenticity is the highest vibration. Now, you hear this term, well, just, be real, be real. The kids use that as an excuse to be vulgar. I see a lot of kids use, I'm just being real, and then they'll be potty mouth, right? And anybody can be potty mouth. I use potty mouth too. I just don't do it when I work. So like right now or with my clients, I don't do that. But yeah, so everybody uses potty mouth at one time or another. But then it gives you an excuse to be rude. It gives you an excuse to be vulgar. And then you say, well, I'm just being real. Yeah, real vulgar, real classless. Okay, have some class, have some tact. Okay, you don't have to be fake and have tact. Just, if you're trying too hard on the other end And now you're saying just be real, and then you're just vulgar on this end. That's not who you are. If it is who you are, then you need to check yourself. Okay? It's just a habit. It's subconscious. The subconscious learns to swear. Okay, I got out of the habit of swearing a lot, because I used to swear a lot when I was younger, in my 20s. But then I got into show business, I got into radio. So you can get into a lot of trouble on radio and create fines for the radio station if you start swearing on the radio. So it had to become a habit not to use vulgar language as soon as I enter the building. Leave the vulgar language out. Okay, I had a lot of practice when I was a child because I had to leave improper English out of my house when I went home. So I could speak as I wanted to. You know, in Hawaii, I'm in Hawaii, and we have this thing called pidgin. It's just slang language, basically. And, you know, everything's cut short, everything's abbreviated, you know, and it's really a fun thing to do. And I speak it as often as I can because it's going out of style, actually. Okay, but when I was young, I was forced to leave that on the doorstep, leave the pidgin outside, right, and only speak proper English in the house. And so that became good practice. So when it came time to do radio and I had to leave the vulgar language, you know, outside the building, it was easy. Okay, so I just practiced that because a lot of people go, wow, you know, you don't even swear, like you're a boring dude. I'm like, no, not really. You haven't seen me at home. So anyway, but good morning, guys. Good morning, Candace. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Carolina. So, you know, but authenticity does not mean being rude. Authenticity does not mean being crass. It does not, you know, fronting, okay, or let's say creating that persona. You get caught up in it. Why? Because your subconscious learns it, okay? And then you get caught up in it. Now, I was a voice actor for years and years and years, okay? And people used to refer to what I was doing as a persona. And I'm like, no, it's not a persona, it's a character. But they didn't know the difference, okay? That wasn't on me, it was on them, okay? But a persona is something that you portray that you want others to see as you, okay? And you can get caught up in it. Why? Because it's subconscious. Your subconscious is always listening, okay? So whatever you're making up, okay? So the smile, hey, hi, you know, that kind of thing. Whatever you're making up, that type of personality, you're going to become it. Whatever a human being practices, they become, okay, through your subconscious. It's all subconscious. So this is mindset. So the highest vibration is to be authentic. Why? Well, because there's nothing artificial going on in here at that point, okay? You're not projecting artificial. When you project artificial, okay, you give out artificial, guess what you get back? Artificial. Okay, now you're operating from a false platform. Okay, so let's say it goes in levels like this. Okay, if you're operating from a fake personality or something, you know, and I see people do this every day. I see young people do this every day. Okay, old people do it too. Okay, they've got theirs down. It's harder to tell with an older person because they brainwashed themselves so deep that it's hard to get to the bottom of, okay, who is he really, kind of thing, you know. There used to be this guy that he used to work in radio as well, and I don't know if he still does. I don't keep up, but he used to put on this Mr. Aloha thing. So in Hawaii, you know, we have a word, aloha. Aloha means love. Aloha means hello. Aloha means goodbye. But that friendliness, that genuineness that is supposed to be aloha, okay, is supposed to be authentic. Okay, but this guy was like, you know, was like everything was good all the time. Like whenever I would see the guy, like no matter what, he never had a bad day. Never had, right? He was always trying too hard, put it that way. Trying too hard, pushing forward the persona. So that was like total persona. And I used to tell the other guys, you know, I'm like, he must have a hard time. He must be exhausted at the end of the day because he's putting up something that's not him, okay? And it's easy to see. I mean, it's easy to tell, right? And it was always put on. Therefore, he was always artificial. Okay. So, so in a case like that, and the reason why you don't want to do this, okay, is not only because I mean, human beings can tell. Okay, they're smart. They're not stupid. Okay, they get it. They see it. They get it. So it's not like you're really convincing people when you do that. If people see you do that, they're not going to say anything, but they see it. They see right through it. Okay. But what happens is you start attracting based upon what you put out, the emotions that you put out. Okay, so if you're putting out artificial emotions, you're going to attract that. I used to see a lot of couples, a lot of guys that would put artificial vibes out there, okay, and they would end up with girls that were artificial. And it was just a plastic thing. I mean, you could see it. You could see it happen. I mean, it was noticeable, but then they didn't know. Okay? Because in order to find authenticity, you have to do some soul searching. You have to stop and really figure out who you are. Why is that? Because your subconscious is doing 90 to 95% of your work every day. It's doing 90 to 95% of that fakeness every day. And you get lost in it. Pretty soon you wake up one day and you go, okay, wait, who am I really? I'm going along to get along. I'm going along to get along. I'm going along to get along. Wait a minute, I'm just going along. How do I really feel about this? How do I really feel about that? And am I being honest with people in how I really feel about whatever? Or am I just telling them what they want to hear to get along and go along? That kind of thing. Okay. So it's very important. Authenticity is very important because you need alignment with your soul. Your soul is not the one that fronts. Okay. Your soul is beneath that. It's your conscious mind that's doing this stuff. Okay? It's your conscious mind that's thinking up this thing. And then when you do it over and over and over again, it goes into your subconscious as a belief. Pretty soon you believe that's who you are. Now you're operating from an artificial persona. Okay? Truth is the natural frequency of the universe. Truth. See, a lot of people are insecure inside. The people that do that, the persona thing, they're very insecure inside. And they're afraid, okay, that they are not good enough. So they put up the persona. If you're afraid that you're not good enough, you have to manufacture something that you think is good, right? But then that's your idea of what you think. When if you were just authentic, okay, you may not get the people that you get to be your friends when you project a persona, but then you don't really want those guys. Why? Because they resonate with the vibration you're putting out that's artificial. Okay? A lot of times before I used to try to fit in, try to play the game, try to, do that kind of thing. And I used to get scolding from my mom all the time. My mom said, "You don't need them." And I go, "No, I don't need them, but I want to participate. I want to be, I want to get in those doors. I want to do a show. I want to do this. I want to do that, or whatever it is I wanted to do at the time." She goes, "But you don't need them." And I didn't get it. I didn't understand what my mom was saying, because that's all she said. She goes, "You don't need them." Well, she was right. Because see, in the long run, right, what they were purporting, those persona thingies or whatever, okay, that all ran out of gas, and pretty soon, because see, here's another thing about that, right? People that put up a fake persona, you can poke holes in it. And one of the easiest ways to poke holes in it is to give it some time. My uncle used to say, give them enough rope and they will hang themselves. Okay? Because people will expose themselves. People will expose their real, true intentions. Okay? So you can see all this stuff that they're putting up. Oh, look at this here. This is me. This is my happy personality. This is me. This is the good guy or the good girl or whatever it is, or this is me, right? And pretty soon they get tired. They can't go the distance. All you have to do is be patient and observe, and it will run out of gas. Or get them in a situation where they're in the same room for a long period of time. They can't keep it up. Pretty soon you poke holes in it. Okay, and what am I talking about? I'm talking about making observations. You're not really poking holes in anything physically, okay? But you're making observations. You go, okay, I see. There you go. Okay? But the universe, okay, resonates with truth. Okay? When you're authentic, it dissolves resistance. Resistance? What's that? So resistance comes between you and who you are. Okay, who you are inside and who you're purporting to be. Okay, that's resistance. Why? Because there's no resonance. It doesn't resonate because it's artificial. It's something you're putting on. Okay, notice this in others. You'll see it all the time. It's like there's more artificial than there's not. Okay. Dissolving resistance means that you stop putting on this thing up here, this fake personality here, this fake persona here. Okay? Because that's resistance. It's going against who you really are. It's artificial. It's fake. It's not real. It's an illusion. You cannot support an illusion for a long period of time without being exposed. And when I say being exposed, it's not like everybody's going to, put you in a newspaper or something or put you on TV and go, look at that guy, he's fake. No, they're just going to know. So when you're pretending or suppressing parts of yourself, it creates energetic friction. Okay. When you're suppressing parts of yourself that you'd rather other people not see, this is why it's important to be vulnerable. Okay. Okay. Because what is that? That's the opposite of, right? Artificial. So vulnerability is, okay, here I am. If you don't like it, okay, right? So it's more of an accept me as I am kind of thing. Okay, now not everybody's gonna like you. And you don't have to feel like you want everybody to like you. Okay? You should not care. Okay? That in itself is way more authentic than pretending. Now, when you live authentically, it invites divine flow. Why? Well, the superconscious, intuitive thought, okay, it invites that. Why? Because you're being yourself. Okay, the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. So the superconscious is where you get intuitive thought from. The superconscious affects the right hemisphere of your brain. That's where it lives. Jesus lives at the right hand of the Father. So spiritually, you cannot be in alignment if you're not being authentic. Because your true alignment is with your soul, is with who you are. It's with your life path. It's with your purpose. It's with your natural purpose, your natural gifts and talents. Love and freedom are only achieved in that state. Why? Because you cannot be free if you're pretending something else. You cannot be free if you are bound, okay, to faking something? How is it binding? Well, it's a trap. It's a trap because you're putting on. Okay? So if you're putting on, it's artificial. So now you're operating from an artificial platform. So how can that resonate spiritually? It cannot. Because it's separate from you. It's something that you've created. And you're operating from here. So all of your natural gifts, okay, you attract who you are. You attract who you are. And when I say who you are, I'm talking about your natural vibration. So authenticity is important because then in authenticity, you're projecting who you really are. Get rid of the pretending, get rid of that thing, get rid of all that artificial nonsense. Look people in the eye, right? Be comfortable, you know. It doesn't mean you don't flex. You can flex. You know, I saw this sign one time when I was a kid. It said, "Them that can brag without lying, let them brag." Because it's difficult, right? But that doesn't, it has nothing to do with that. God lives in here. You're that energy that lives in here. Okay? But this energy is intelligent. Okay? This energy is creative. This energy can invent anything because it draws on the superconscious. So pretty soon you've created this artificial persona. And once it goes into, it's automatic. I used to see all the time, I used to feel sorry for the guy. I'm like, wow, he has to use a lot of energy every day to be something he's not. And he wasn't trying to be anything other than nice and friendly and likable all the time. Okay? And nobody's like that. Nobody's really like that. But it takes a lot of energy to put up all of that, right? Okay. So that energy is the resistance because you're pushing that energy, pushing that energy. And that energy is between you and your soul. Okay? So you're pushing that energy, pushing that energy. That's like a force field like this. When you're pushing forward with things, okay? You're trying hard, you're working hard. Okay, the key word is hard. Hard, push, push, working hard, push, push, working hard. Your blessings are trying to get to you, but they stop here because there's energetic resistance like this. Because and visualization. With my clients, I do it with the vocalization exercise really quick. Like in 3 months, we clear this one. Okay, the prison is here. Where's the resistance? The resistance is here. It starts with an idea. Well, I need to work hard. I need to go, 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 push, 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 push. Pretty soon you get sick. Why? Push too hard, too hard. Work too hard. But then, oh, am I not to be admired because I work so hard? Maybe by some people. And some people think you look foolish. Why is that? Well, working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay? Let me say it again. Working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay, let me say it again. Working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay, let me say it again. Working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay, let me say it again. Working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay, let me say it again. Working hard is a paradigm of the system. Okay, Why would it be? Well, because you're taught to work hard. Because the system wants workers. They want people to work hard. Okay? So you work hard, 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 push, push, push. Okay? Maybe it's a corporate job. Maybe you're working hard for the corporation, push, push, push. Corporation doesn't have a heartbeat, doesn't have feelings, doesn't have, they tell you they appreciate you. Okay, they appreciate you. Okay, you get awards every once in a while, employee of the month, employee of the year, whatever it is. You get a bonus for this, bonus for that. But you're pushing. The resistance is there. You're pushing, 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 pushing. And the blessings that could have come to you, that could have made you have, is already yours in here. But it can't get to you if you're pushing, 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 pushing. When you lower the resistance, boom, it starts hitting you. This is why, right? You work hard, work hard, work hard. Pretty soon you can't take it anymore. Pretty soon you go, give up. And you go take a nap. And then something good happens. Why is that? It's because the resistance fell. The resistance dissipated at that moment. And then blessings come. This is why meditation is important. Because when you put that energetic break between you and your pushing, blessings come. So what's the ideal solution? Well, the ideal solution is authenticity. Because that would require that you get rid of all the resistance. Okay? Because you're putting up that persona, that's resistance. You're working hard, 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 push, push, push. A lot of people do that because they want other people to see them working hard. And then some people just work hard. I've never worked hard. I work long. I get to the office. I used to get to the office at 4:30 in the morning, 4:45, right after Starbucks at 4:30. Starbucks 4:30, 4:45 I'm in the office. And then I leave the office about 8:30 at night. So yeah, you can work long and not hard. I never worked hard. Everything happened, everything came, everything was attracted. Why? Because I became the center point. Once you become the center point, your timeline corresponds to you. Okay? I know if you haven't heard this concept before, it's kind of like, what? Study quantum physics, go look it up. It's a thing. You can either chase this, chase that, chase money, chase relationships, chase girls, chase guys, chase this, chase whatever you want to chase the new car, chase the new house. Go ahead. Play the game. You can chase, or you can make it come to you and be the center point. And what does that take? It takes mindset. That's what this is, mindset. That's what I talk about every morning, mindset. When you're not authentic, that's when this is full of anxiety, fear, overthinking, indecision, okay? All of those things. So we say that there's a lack of confidence. Of course there's a lack of confidence. There's a lack of self-esteem. There's a lack of self-worth. That's all resistance. That's energetic resistance, vibrational resistance. But when this clears, Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, said, muddy water, let's stand, clears. In other words, stop making the water muddy. Leave it alone. Let it clear. Stillness is the key. And that's what you do in meditation. Okay? That's what you do in meditation. You dissolve the resistance. We do it with our clients with their voice. Okay? We dissolve resistance through their voice. Because it promotes the stimulation. of the neurotransmitters which fire oxytocin and endorphins into the brain. What happens then? The brain begins to relax. Anxiety goes away, overthinking goes away, restlessness goes away, being fidgety goes away. Those are all resistance. That's all resistance. When the muddy water clears and everything is still and the resistance dissipates, guess what happens? Everything that's yours comes. Everything. Now, the job is more manageable. Now the relationship is more manageable. If you have anxiety about your relationship, I deal with a lot of guys and they're worried about their wife's gonna leave them. Their wife's gonna leave them. Girlfriend's gonna leave them. Okay, that's like ringing an alarm bell to a woman. Okay, they smell that like 5 miles away. And what happens when you put that in your subconscious? Your subconscious looks for evidence, right? Oh, okay. We'll have you do this action. This will be operating out of fear of loss. Oh, you're gonna lose her? Okay, here. Here. Look at this. This is a good reason why you would lose her. Look at this. This is another good reason why you would lose her. Oh, look at that. You're not doing this right. Look at this. See. This is another reason why you would lose her. And pretty soon, guess what happens? She leaves. Why? Because your subconscious starts producing all these actions conducive to loss. So when you're thinking fear of loss, if that's your mindset, you're operating in fear, okay, because you think you're going to lose your relationship. What do? You start overcompensating. What does that do to a female? That makes her uncomfortable. Same thing the other way around. But women are hardwired a little bit differently. Because they're hardwired for survival, they get uncomfortable fast. So it's a very sensitive situation. But when you're operating out of fear, when you're operating out of anxiety, when you're operating out of overthinking, versus clarity, versus being calm, making rational decisions, you're going to make bad decisions. And those bad decisions will result in bad outcomes. It's that simple. So you manifest whether you think so or not. You manifest whether you want to or not. The key to optimizing your manifestation, or let's say the benefits of manifesting your desires the way you want, deliberately, so that they come out in your favor, is to have control of the mindset and build the mindset first. Take control of your subconscious. Because when you introduce those ideas into your subconscious as beliefs, a belief is a thought you keep thinking. Okay, this is why those things manifest. You keep thinking she's gonna leave me. I know she's gonna leave me. Yeah, and she's probably fooling around, right? She's probably fooling around. Yeah, she's gonna leave me. Yeah, and then pretty soon he finds out, oh yeah, she's having an affair. What? Yeah. And then it's confirmation. Oh, I knew that. That's what I was thinking. She's going to leave me. Pretty soon, she's gone. Right? And what does he think? See, I knew she was going to leave me. Yep, I knew it. He did it all in here. Okay? Because the subconscious will produce actions conducive to the goal or the belief. And if the belief is, well, she's going to leave me, he's going to start doing subconscious things he's not even aware of, actions he's not even aware of, that's conducive to her wanting to leave and her leaving. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So how do you change that? Do the opposite. Write affirmations in the opposite. I'm just using that as an example. But in that instance, he's operating out of fear. He's operating with anxiety. He's not operating in authenticity. Why? Authenticity, there's no fear in authenticity. You weren't born fearing. You learn to fear. The subconscious learns to fear. The subconscious learns to be generous. The subconscious learns to be angry, be happy, be joyful. The subconscious learns all of that. And it takes repetition, so you need to do it for a little while. Are you unhappy because you're unhappy? You know what you want. You may think you don't know. But what you're focused on most of the time is what you don't want. You know, oh, that's the last thing I want to happen. I don't want that to happen. You know, boy, if this happens, that's terrible. You see, self-talk is a thing. Negative self-talk is a huge thing. Negative self-talk is responsible for the decline of more self-confidence than anything else. It's negative self-talk. It's the talk you tell yourself about you that's not good. When your subconscious begins to believe these things, it looks for evidence. When you begin to fear, when you begin to put up resistance. Okay? So spiritually, right? Authenticity means you return to yourself. You return to you in here. Never mind the professionalism. Never mind the, oh, I gotta pretend to be the good neighbor. Never mind like, oh, I can't let my friends see me like this. I gotta be happy. I gotta, you know, gotta show face. I gotta be happy. You don't have to be happy if you're not happy. If you're not happy, don't be happy. If you're pretending all the time, nobody knows who you are. They know you're not being you, but they don't know who you are. If people don't know you, they know what to think. You know, a lot of people don't know me. Like me. Why? Well, because I'm not out there shaking hands and kissing babies all the time. I'm working. I do a lot of work. I do a hell of a lot of work. But there are people, especially the have to be seen people, you know, those people, they're at every event, they're at every public, whatever, you know, any excuse to network, whatever, be seen, blah, 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 all of that. But most of those people are putting up personas. Oh, hi, you know, that kind of thing. And pretty soon, they're exhausted. And they don't know why they can't be themselves, but they can't be themselves. It's because it's subconscious. The subconscious takes over. That's why sometimes, you know, you observe yourself. So it's not like they can't observe themselves. You observe yourself as a human being. We're the only ones that can observe ourselves in motion. Animals can't do that. They only have that one experience like that. That's it. That's all they know. Okay, but we can observe ourselves. That's why we are our biggest critic. You are your worst enemy. Always. Me too. Okay? We are our own worst enemy because we observe ourselves. We know when we're doing something wrong. We can tell right away. Oh, yeah, okay, I know I know. And you know sometimes. Okay, but just out of habit, just out of your subconscious, you do it anyway. And you go, oh, I know this is going to result in whatever, a breakup. I know this is going to be bad. I know this is going to lose my job. I know if I say something, I know this is going to get me fired. But you do it anyway, right? It happens anyway. Okay, but you're observing these things in real time. And you always say it to yourself after the fact, right? I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen, right? And I said it anyway. I couldn't help it. I just said it. And then I got fired. Whatever, okay? Just an example. But that happens, okay? So you have to live in presence, okay? Authenticity exists only in the now, okay? So living in the present tense is very important. Being grounded in the present is very important, okay? And you have to integrate your negativity with your positivity, okay? Bring those two together. Okay, don't deny the dark part of you because you're only trying to show the good part of you. Okay? That's what happens in a relationship, right? The first couple months, okay? Good side, good side, good side, good side, good side. Okay? And pretty soon the bad side comes out and you go, oh, okay, well, I finally saw the real her or the real him. Okay? And then you know what to deal with from that point on. Okay? But authenticity is important because authenticity says, well, I'm just going to integrate these two. Okay? In the spiritual world, it's shadow and light. I'm going to integrate shadow and light. Don't deny the shadow. Don't deny the negativity. Don't pretend it's not there. Okay? Because God lives in here. Okay? Satan lives in here too. It's the opposing energy. We're capable of both. I'm not here to say be a good person or be a bad person. I'm just saying this is how it works. I'm here to deliver the message. I'm not here to preach morals. You want morals, go to church or wherever you go for morals, okay? Counseling, therapy, whatever, okay? Do that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here pretending to be a good person and go, okay, this is what you got to do to be good. No, that's not it at all. I am here saying this is how this works. This is how the human being works. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. If you want to attain certain things, this is the formula. Whatever, your goals, your desires, whatever it is. Some people desire to be evil. Okay, guarantee if you follow my instructions, you're going to be very evil. Okay, and guarantee on the other side, if you follow my instructions, you're going to be very good. You'll get good results. Okay, but the choice is yours. Okay, it's just like anything. A gun has a good side to it, right? And then it has a bad side to it. A knife, good, bad, everything. Human being, good, bad. It depends on how you use it. It depends on how you apply it. Okay, this is mindset coaching. It's not positive mindset coaching or negative mindset coaching. Okay, it's how to apply mindset, period. Okay, overall. All right, so now, being in service to others. Okay, your authentic self will naturally uplift people if you allow it. Why? Because it's not artificial, it's just you. People appreciate authenticity. They recognize it. Okay? Because you're not putting out effort. You're putting out vibration at that point. When you're being authentic, you're not trying. There's no energy projection going on. You're just being. And just your being alone, just your vibration alone, just your natural energy alone will attract who you need in your world. It will attract the money that you need in your world. It will attract the resources that you need, the employment that you need, the friends that you need, the kind of friends that you need. This is why they say, show me 5 of your friends, your closest friends, and I'll tell you who you are. Now, if your friends are all artificial, guess what? You're not living in authenticity yet. Okay? If you're always complaining about your friends, oh, my friends are like this, like this, like this, okay? It's because it exists in here first. and then you recognize it in them, then you don't like that part of them. Why? Because you don't like that part of you. It's that simple. Low vibrations, right? Fear, shame, guilt, control, people pleasing. See, that's all about people pleasing. When you're putting on that fake persona, that's what you're doing. You're trying to please people, please everybody, keep everybody happy. Oh, hi, keep everybody happy. It doesn't go very far because pretty soon you get burnt out here. You get tired. It becomes a chore. That's the resistance. When you transcend the low vibration and you're transcending upward into the mid vibrations, now you start getting into self-awareness, honesty, and courage. Okay? So emotional frequencies are what we're talking about. We're not talking about scientific resonance. Emotional frequencies, at the very highest is love, at the very lowest is fear. Okay? But in energetic terms, when you're on your way there, okay, at the low side, it's like fear, shame, guilt, right? The four bottom, okay? Grief, guilt, shame, and fear at the bottom. The four top, joy, gratitude, peace, and love at the top. When you're in the middle, you're transitioning from one to the other. When you're in the middle, you start doing self-awareness. You become more self-aware. What does that do? Well, because you can observe yourself, self-awareness goes, oh, I'm behaving like this. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, yeah, that's not really what I want. That's not really how I feel, but I don't know why I did that. But okay, accept that. It's okay. Accept it. Acceptance is the first thing. You can't do anything about anything if you don't accept what's going on. And a lot of times, right, when you're putting on that persona thingy, because it's artificial, sometimes you're not even sure what the problem is because you're operating from this false platform up here. So you don't even know what the real issue is. You have to think. You have to become aware. If you're operating from this artificial platform, you can't be aware of the real source of what's bugging you or what's detracting from your life. So self-awareness, honesty, courage, those things start happening in the transition into the higher vibrations. The next steps would be self-acceptance. Okay? Then you get into authenticity. Then you get into love and unity. Then you can practice things like generosity without any back-end thoughts. Back-end thoughts? Yeah, like some people call it sacrifice when they're generous. They go, oh, well, I gave this to so I sacrificed this. I gave it to so-and-so. If you're talking like that, or if you're thinking like that, that's not commendable at all. That's not a good thing at all. Sacrifice breeds resentment. Okay, if you don't believe me, try sacrificing part of your dinner every night at the dinner table. Sacrifice. It doesn't matter if it's your kids or family or what. It doesn't matter. Try. Sacrifice every night. And pretty soon, right, you'd be like, I gotta do this again. Okay? That's resentment. Because you're sacrificing. You're not giving from your heart. You're not giving to give. You're giving because you think it's the thing to do. Okay? There's a difference. There's a difference. It's like people who, treat you to lunch because, well, they don't really want to treat you to lunch, but they want to be seen as a good person. So they'll buy you lunch. When I buy people lunch, I want to buy them lunch because I want to do them a favor. I want to do something for them. I want to do something nice for them. There's never any regret. Never, ever. Giving has to be unconditional. Otherwise, it's going to tug at you like this, okay? Because you're going to regret the giving. Sometimes when you don't have a lot, that's when you give, okay? Not because you're sacrificing. Because you need to get the receiving going again. Sometimes things get stagnant, okay? When things get stagnant, money slows down. Money slows down. There's a rhythm to money. Money's an energy. There's a rhythm to it. And when money slows down, people start to be concerned, alarmed. And then what is the focus? The focus is there's not enough money. And what is that? Abundance or lack? It's lack. Okay, so when there's not enough money, that's when you take all the change on your dress or in the bottles, whatever. Okay, whatever you have, that's when you give it out to the kids. Give it to the kids. That's when you give. That's when you start giving. Okay, it's not time to panic. It's not time to conserve. It's not time to go like this. It's time to go like this. It's time to do this. Why? Because when you do this on this end, it comes back over here. Keep the cycle going. As long as you don't place a condition on it. Remember the other day when we were talking about putting labels on things? That's what you do when you put a condition on something. When you think, well, I'm going to give this to him, and then next time when he has, he'll give to me. That's a condition. The thought should be here, just for you. Here, check. I have some here. I'll give you some of my some. I'll give you some of my part, or whatever it is, right? Some of my stash, some of my whatever. Okay, here. There you go. I see some of the most luckiest people in the world do that. I know people like that. They just give. Anytime, give. My stepfather was like that. Give. And guess what? He never went without, ever. His friends, anytime they had something, they would come give. That was the old style. It doesn't happen the same way as it used to in the old days, but it should. Start a new trend. Go ahead, start giving. Just random giving. Just for the sake of giving. Because otherwise you get pulled into lack. And then you develop a lack mindset. Why? Because a lack mindset suggests there's not enough. There's not enough of this. There's not enough money. There's not enough cookies. There's not enough whatever it is. Okay? And when you put that belief into your subconscious, guess what your subconscious does? It looks for evidence. Oh yeah, there's not enough. Yeah, look at this. There's not enough over there. Oh yeah, look over here. Not enough over there. The reticular activating system in your brainstem goes, oh, okay, I'm only going to show you things of lack. I'm only going to show you emergencies. I'm only going to show you things that reflect a lack of something. And then you start seeing it. And then you think that the world is becoming like that. It's not the world. It's you. You're designed like that. You're a human being designed like that. The good news is that you can counter all this stuff. Okay? So do your best to counter all this stuff. This persona thing is not new. I didn't make it up. Carl Jung did. Carl Jung, it was his concept. The false self was another concept by Donald Winnicott. It was his theory. You can look these guys up. Okay, so these psychologists and psychiatrists, they all had, Donald Winnicott was a psychoanalyst, but yeah. So these people all had their versions of what I'm explaining to you this morning. And part of what, their versions are, I incorporated into my version. I learned from them. So, But on a spiritual level, you have to look a little bit deeper at these things. Okay, spiritual. When I say spiritual, I'm not talking church. I'm not even talking the spiritual community. When I say spiritual, I'm talking energy. Everything is energy. The energy in here, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about operating from the kingdom within, like Jesus Christ said. Okay, the kingdom is within. And Jesus was trying to clue us into this. Because everybody was distracted in the temples. Everybody was distracted with the money. Everybody was distracted with the government. Everybody was distracted with all these material things. When the real wealth is in here. And I don't mean that as a mere idea. I mean, if you want something material, you start in here, it will show up out here. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You want better health? It's in here. It's a mindset, but it already exists in here. You just have to put it into practice. You have a subconscious. The subconscious is your autopilot. All you have to do is program the autopilot. The autopilot keeps producing the actions. Okay? It's the subconscious tree, right? The beliefs are the subconscious. Okay? It forms your worldview, your paradigm, the trunk of the tree. The fruits on the top of the tree, those are your actions that turn into results. You can create any action to create any result. But when you go down to the roots and you reprogram the roots, now you reprogram the subconscious, now you get consistent results. Consistency is key. So I use that word instead of self-discipline. Consistency is important. Jay is saying, see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jay. Jay is our moderator over here. And but just to finish up on this, look at it as consistency. It's all about how you reframe, refocus. Okay, so reframe it as consistency, not self-discipline. If you think about it as self-discipline, guess what? It's going to be discipline. It's going to be hard. It's going to be, because discipline is like a dirty word, almost. Okay, it sounds like a lot of work. Consistency is key. Do it over and over again. All you need to do is do it for a little while, for 2 weeks, you'll feel the shift. 66 days, it becomes permanent. 66 days. Go ahead, fact check me. Pull it up on AI, pull it up on Google, whatever you have, whatever. Okay, but it takes 66 days. That's the beginning period of creating a new habit. And once you create new habits, once you design and structure some kind of structure for you in the way of a routine, okay, things start to come together. And when they come together, it will last long if there are beliefs in your subconscious, because those beliefs, okay, affect the fruits. The fruits are your actions. Those actions, you produce better actions, you get better results. Okay, so we just thank you, Manuel. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shalina. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming.